Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the second part of What If Goku Was an Elite Saiyan. Please like the video to help with the video's algorithm and subscribe. It's totally free and you can unsubscribe when you want. There's nothing much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
So, due to a plot inconsistency kindly highlighted to me in the comments, I shall change the overall framing to the early parts of this What If. Firstly, Goku doesn't hit his head and get hurt because he can't really, his power level is way too high. Goku still kills Grandpa Gohan as an Uzaru and is an unruly kid, causing a lot of damage, playing around, etc. Now Goku is far more keen to face Master Roshi since he is strong, however Goku is still far stronger than him, so it's just boring to say the least. Master Roshi and Kami though are the people that soften Goku and allow him to be more kind-hearted, still being cold in battle though. He is still much more like a Saiyan. He's not the same as his Kan himself, but he's also far detached from the likes of an ordinary Saiyan. 20,000, Vegeta blurts out, confused on how his power rose. He also notices that his injuries have just vanished completely. I had a trick up my sleeve, Vegeta, now to end this. Raditz powers up to the maximum and cracks the rock under his feet. Powerfully he leaps off it and punches Vegeta in the face, following up with a swivel kick to his chin, then a ki blast. Once it lands, Vegeta gets blasted off course and sent spinning into the air. As he spins into the air, Vegeta stops himself and gets kicked in the stomach almost immediately. This force slams Vegeta through a rock pile, then as he falls back, Raditz pulls back both arms and charges his signature technique. All hail Raditz, the new leader of our team, Raditz shouts, launching his double Sunday attack. All Vegeta has time for is a one-hand energy wave since he can't charge anything up, and the attack gets destroyed very quickly. As it comes racing down towards Vegeta, it slams into him and destroys all the rock around him too. A cluster of smoke and debris is released and Vegeta is clearly disorientated by the attack, however Vegeta still has enough in him to fight back. Raditz flies forwards and both fighters clash once again, only this time Raditz is the clear superior fighter in terms of strength. Before I claimed he was already stronger, but now the gap is even wider. Raditz swings out, but Vegeta is able to swerve under that attack and throw two powerful punches to Raditz's chest. The attacks are speedy and accurate, but Raditz just pulls up with a knee to his chin. As his body is launched upwards, Raditz stuns him with a ki blast to the head and a devastating blow to his sternum. The Saiyan Prince goes flying downwards but manages to stop himself right ahead of some rocks. "I'm the Prince of Saiyans, how dare you try and snatch my title like this," Vegeta shouts, powering up as much as he can. Rage fuels his every shout, but he is still weaker than the elite Raditz. He flies forward at full speed and aims right for his head. This telegraphed attack is easily evaded by Raditz and he lands a kick that sends him far into the air. The beating continues and Vegeta is literally beat to a pulp. His armor has completely gone off and he is left weak and bleeding pretty much everywhere. Left trembling and barely able to stand, Raditz just walks to him with practically unscathed armor. Vegeta trips over a rock as he continues to walk backwards, then he just throws his scouter directly at Raditz's eyes. The long-haired Saiyan kinda just dodges past this hit but then gets hit by a barrage of full power ki blasts. Once this happens, Raditz isn't able to see what's going on and Vegeta is able to sprint to his pod and take off immediately. Raditz just stares the pod down as he leaves and is satisfied to have defeated Vegeta finally. Goku lands next to him and says, "You did it." As I should have. The Prince stands no chance against our bloodline. We will reign supreme over any warrior that comes against us, even you, Frieza. Who's Frieza? You'll hear about him soon enough. Raditz is healed and everyone else is pretty much fine. All they need now are the Dragon Balls to save Piccolo. Raditz is quite reluctant, but he just tanks along anyway. It's not like he'll have anything to do on the planet. Once they start talking about getting the Dragon Balls, Raditz comes up with an idea. Vegeta will be there. He has always wanted to be immortal and that's why he was so keen on coming to this helpless planet. The next stop for him will also be Namek, and us Saiyans get far stronger after heated fights like that. I recommend we enter that magic chamber once again before leaving to ensure that we are stronger than him. Raditz says, with crossed arms and in his Saiyan armor, there literally isn't much other things he can wear, so he just wears the armor constantly. The group agree and during this time Bulma and Mr. Popo are still able to find the Namekian ship. Now I heavily lowballed the last training regime because I was unclear on how strong Saiyans become of Senzu beans. I mean, Goku alone went from 8,000 to 90,000 in 6 days just with gravity training. Since they have sparring partners now and a nice stash of senzu beans, they can grow exceptionally far too. Also, they're spending way longer inside of the hyperbolic time chamber, so their training is even more effective that way. During this time, Tien and Krillin also tag along. The humans know their place and know that they can't be spending all of their time trying to catch up to the Saiyans or just get as strong as possible. What they do instead is they train their techniques and refine them. Tien makes his Neo Tri-Beam early and Krillin is able to use his Destructo Disc far easier. Tien has a power level of around 13,000 and Krillin has a power level of 12,000. They have spent a very long time training and have fought none other than opponents far above themselves. However, the Zenkais do not apply to them at all, and they aren't even training for power that much, but are refining their techniques. We know that Tien's Neo Tri-Beam can take out people many times stronger than the user, so even if they are far weaker, at least we know Tien can keep up with his signature technique. After this, the group get the Namekian ship and head towards Namek. It takes the normal month as it does in canon, and they arrive on planet Namek. I will say that instead of the group being a day ahead of the canon, that Bulma and Mr. Popo find the ship faster because there aren't any injured fighters and they can get right on to getting the ship. During this trip, they train through the use of vision training and working out in general. This allows them to get a little stronger, and here are their listed power levels by the time they arrive. Krillin's has jumped up slightly to 14,000 and Tien's is now at 15,000. Gohan's is at an astronomical 190,000. Due to the hyperbolic time chamber, he has had a lot of time to train with strong warriors and has gained multiple Zenkais in the process. Goku's power level caps out at around 270,000. He is still a good bit stronger than Gohan, mainly because of his age, and is able to frequently train with Raditz, who is stronger than him. Raditz, being the oldest and the most experienced fighter, has a very high power level of 300,000. The constant Zenkais of these elite Saiyans sets them apart from the rest and makes them truly formidable warriors. Once they land, a few soldiers step down next to the ship. Raditz immediately cowers in fear and hides away from the glass openings in the ship. Frieza soldiers? Here? We're in a lot of trouble if he's on this planet, he replies, not willing to move away from the hidden area where he is crouched in. Frieza? Oh, that guy you were talking about. These soldiers don't even seem that powerful if you ask me, Goku says confidently, stepping towards the entrance. The doors slide open and Goku merely stands there in his orange gi. He has far suppressed his power level to around 50, but his tail gives away his identity right away. Instead of these soldiers being more cautious and wary of what's happening, they just mock him. Saying with a battle power of 50, no wonder Frieza took over you guys so quick. One mockingly remarks, stepping up to fight him. He runs forwards at far above superhuman speeds, but Goku just weaves past his punch as he lifts some of his suppression off. Now at around 20,000 for a power level, he blasts the man away with one arm. Boldly, he looks at the remaining soldier and doesn't have the bubbly cannon demeanor of Goku from the canon. Here, from not hitting his head, he retained his mental strength and somewhat darkness. The last soldier cowers away and stumbles over his feet, but then looks more intently at his face. Raditz, how did you cut your hair? You're a Saiyan. Are you his brother? The soldier asks, seeing the clear resemblance. I'm not Raditz, Goku states, before blasting the other soldier away too. Swiftly, he suppresses himself even more than the group start to exit the chamber one by one. Raditz has to keep himself hidden or else he'll easily just get caught out and destroyed by Frieza. He may have a larger ego from his high class status, but he isn't stupid. He knows that even if Saiyans could grow so strong so quickly, there had to be a reason to how he was able to control them with utmost ease. Once his power level fires up to this extent, Frieza, Zarbon and Dodoria all turn towards the massive 20,000 power level they have just detected. Zarbon and Dodoria aren't far above this, so it seems quite threatening to them that there is some unknown person in their lead. Be alert, once we see a power level anywhere remotely near to that power level we have just sensed again, eliminate them promptly, Frieza orders, continuing their somewhat successful quest for the Dragon Balls so far. Like in canon, Gohan and Krillin both head out to search for the Dragon Balls. The rest stay back next to the still intact ship and they see the soldiers mercilessly killing innocents. Gohan, who is probably one of the worst people to ever bring to somewhere like this, bubbles up with rage and then powers up wildly as his suppressions fade away. Even Krillin gets blasted away, then the Saiyan dives down towards Dodoria specifically. With one punch, he shatters Dodoria's skull and face, killing him. Landing next to Zarbon, he swiftly zooms forwards and throws a side kick, but Zarbon is able to block. Once Frieza sees a power level of 120,000, he is more than surprised. Even if Gohan is suppressed though, he is far above the likes of Zarbon and Dodoria. Zarbon feels the immense pain in his arms and is surprised by the power of the small kid. However, once he sees his tail, it makes him confused as to how he exists. Gohan then flies forwards and punches the man in his face, dipping down and kicking the large man in his chest with impressive force. This attack just kills Zarbon, and then Gohan lands ahead of Frieza. Once he feels the power emitting from the Emperor, he feels significantly intimidated and just flies forwards to grab Dende, then exits as fast as he possibly can. Krillin also tags along and the two manage to escape. With these two warriors defeated, Frieza calls none other than the Ginyu Force far earlier than the canon continuity. Because Dodoria is already dead, Vegeta doesn't hear of the Earthlings from him. Instead, he senses Gohan's power and is incredibly confused as to how his power is so high. It's actually so strong to him that he assumes that it's none other than the Tyrant Frieza. Next, just like in canon, Krillin and also Raditz get taken to go to Guru. With Raditz, both people just latch onto him and he is able to fly far faster than both Dende and Krillin. However, he is still keeping himself suppressed to not be detected by the Frieza soldiers or even Frieza himself. His power level now is somewhere around 90,000 to 100,000. Once he arrives at the place, they receive the 1-star Dragon Ball and Krillin gets his potential unlocked in return. The only problem is Guru senses evil in Raditz's heart. All Raditz does is explains that he needs all the extra power to defeat Frieza and free Namek. Guru, even clearly sensing Raditz's evil heart, can somewhat sense this to be true. At the end of the day, they need all the power they can get. Granting him a potential unlock, the new power he has is extraordinary. His new power level jumps up from his previous 300,000 all the way to 550,000. Krillin's rises to 25,000, rivaling the likes of even Vegeta. Since he hasn't had the fight with Zarbon, his power has risen any higher, so it is stuck at the canon 24,000 from After Earth. Returning to the ship, someone follows after them both, Vegeta. Since Raditz is suppressing his power quite significantly, Vegeta is confident. He isn't suppressing it too much though, because that means that they fly faster. Arriving, Vegeta lands directly behind them. Raditz, I'm here to take the Dragon Ball and also revenge. Let me show you the power I have received, Vegeta shouts, powering up proudly. His power reaches its limit and Raditz just chuckles upon sensing this. They have taught Raditz ki control so he can do it. Vegeta is just talented as we know and learned it after seeing it happen just once. Get him, Baldy, I'm sure you can handle him, Raditz says, turning away and chucking the Dragon Ball into the adjacent cave. Krillin makes his stance and unleashes his full power, scaring Vegeta at how strong the Earthling has become. In a flash, Krillin zooms off towards Vegeta and punches him in the face. Swiftly, the prince backs away, then launches him upwards with a kick. As Krillin is held upwards, Vegeta catches up to him and throws 2 punches that are blocked. Suddenly, both fighters fall into a power struggle and seem equal. However, Krillin is slowly able to push Vegeta back and kick him back further. How could a simple human be equaling me out? No, this simply can't be possible, he thinks to himself, bubbling up with rage and fury. To try and mend his breaking ego, he flies towards Krillin and tries to overpower him with brute force alone. However, Krillin just grows his Destructo Disc and spin throws it at the Saiyan. Swiftly, he is forced to flip over, but the disc slashes across his torso deeply. As this happens, Krillin lands a double dropkick to force his opponent down into the adjacent waters. The deep wound leaves Vegeta very weak and almost unable to swim out of the water. Luckily, he is able to swim up and escape weakly, barely holding his wound shut with his hurt arm. Krillin lands back ahead of the ship and then returns inside the little cave base that they have set up. Vegeta is then forced to heal himself up, and from this deep injury his power level raises up to 32,000. I will kill that Earthling if it's the last thing I do, he shouts in his mind, stuck in the healing chamber. The chamber he has decided to heal in is actually in Frieza's ship, so he manages to escape, steal Frieza's Dragon Balls and fly out the ship like in the canon continuity. This also means Gohan is able to successfully steal the 4-star Dragon Ball from Vegeta and return to the base with such Dragon Ball, adding to their collection. However, the Ginyu Force are now closing in on planet Namek. Following this, the rest of the fighters head to Guru's planet to unlock their potential. They do so swiftly and just before the Ginyu Force make their arrival. Goku's power level has risen to 500,000 and Gohan's has risen tremendously. Now his power level has reached 600,000. His potential is insane, and since he is an elite Saiyan, that potential has risen up even further. This now makes him the strongest Saiyan and fighter the Earth has. Tien's is also at 30,000. Returning to their base, they then all sense a key signature given off from beside them, the Ginyu Force. Once they see the fighters, they turn to head towards them instead. You think they're strong? Tien asks, being the furthest from Goku and Gohan, who are extremely fast. No chance. I can sense it and I know I'm stronger than every single one of them, Goku says confidently, landing ahead of the Ginyu Force, who make their very odd pose. What are you doing? Goku asks, very confused and slightly bewildered by what the 5 warriors have just performed. We are the Ginyu Force, the strongest men under Frieza, and we are here to kill you as you are threats to Frieza's quest for immortality, Ginyu explained, stepping forward and clicking at his scouter. Ah, you have a power level of 70,000. I must admit you are strong, but you aren't strong enough to handle us all, Ginyu claims, making a fighting stance. How could you be so proud to say you are under someone? Also, don't believe everything that scouter tells you, Goku states, beginning his power up. The ground below him shakes as he removes his suppression and brings out his true strength. His aura becomes large and powerful and he shatters every single one of their scouters. So that will conclude the second part of What If Goku Was an Elite Saiyan. Tell me something you liked about the video, something that I should improve on for the next part in the comments. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.